Want some inspiration and motivation? Well, stay tuned to meet a man who's gonna take you there. My name is Yvonne Lewis, and you're watching Urban Report. Welcome to Urban Report. My guest today is Arthur L. Andrews, inspirational and motivational speaker. Arthur Andrews is an award-winning speaker, author, trainer, and success coach. Born and reared in Brooklyn, New York, Arthur's a product of urban life and has experienced firsthand the awesome challenges of the streets. In 1990, Arthur began realizing goals of his own and began his professional speaking and training career. Since then, he's given over 1,300 speeches, many of them repeat performances. Arthur has dedicated his expertise to helping corporations shake off mediocrity and maximize their unlimited potential. But Arthur's primary focus is in evangelism. Welcome to Urban Report, Arthur. Yay!
Thank you, Yvonne. This is exciting.
I know.
Yay.
I can't believe I have you with me.
I'm so happy.
Oh.
Words cannot encompass the symbolism of what I'm feeling.
You are so funny, as our audience is going to know within the next few minutes. But underneath all of that, Arthur, I mean, you're funny and you make people laugh, and you are very insightful. God has given you so many gifts. But underneath all of that is a man who has been through a lot in life. Tell us about your upbringing. Tell us about, where you grew up and how you grew up.
Yes, I came out of a little town called Brooklyn, Bedford-Stuyvesant to be exact. And could any good thing come out of Bedford-Stuyvesant? Well, I think about Jesus of Nazareth. Could any good thing come out of Nazareth? I had a lady that raised me as a very own. Her name was Thelma. My parents couldn't take care of me because of extenuating circumstances. But Thelma raised me as her very own. I didn't know the difference. And she beat me too, just like I was her very own. She told me one day, she said, look, you run your mouth like a bell clapper. All you do is talk. I got to go to school. I'm missing time off work because of you. What is wrong with you? I said, nothing's wrong with me, Thelma. She said, look, come over here. She said, if you're going to talk, you might as well get paid for it. And Thelma said, you're going to be a great elocutionist. And she would challenge me, go look it up. And I was having great difficulty pronouncing the word elocution. So people would ask me what I want to be. I said, I'm going to be an executioner. I'm going to help a lot of people. Okay. And I did that at programs. They're embarrassing me. But Thelma took me all around Brooklyn to say the speech called Take Your Place. And the rest is really history. You treat a child the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But treat him as if he were what he could be, the child becomes what he should be. And I'm
I like that.
And I possessed it. She raised me in the spirit of Von Goethe, who said that. And Yvonne, it's been incredible. Coming out of Brooklyn, New York, I was raised in a not a very diverse community. So it was very, very challenging for me to get out here and start speaking. They had to say, Arthur, you're going to speak or preach. Because I always just knew, I'm not just yelling and screaming, but people used to say, you got to calm down. What are you angry about? And I was angry. But this field is so awesome, and you just meet so many different people. And you really get to share your faith, yes.
Yes, let's go back for a second because we kind of missed a whole lot of area here. So how did you avoid the drugs, the gangs, all of that? Growing up in Bed-Stuy, how did you avoid getting involved in all that? Structure,
and I had an Uncle Jackie, I had my brother, and I knew they were going to kill me. So I really was, I should say, it wasn't a challenged childhood. I had a great childhood, but I had mentors. I had people that I looked up to, And,
that is so important, Arthur, because you just named some men who played a pivotal role in you and your outlook. And that's one of the things that's missing so much in our communities now. It's the absence of the male mentor, the one
Well,
who can take somebody and train them?
I had Uncle Convy, then I had, you know, I had my parents, my maternal parents, then I had Uncle Convy, and then I had Uncle Jackie, who took me through my teenage years. So I was very gifted and blessed, you know, not to be affected.
Yeah.
And she told me I felt like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You're going down to stay with Uncle Jackie. I said, well, they don't eat meat, they don't eat white bread, and they don't watch television. I'm not going. And I had a protest, but I ended up there, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me, really.
So when did you go and live with Uncle Jackie?
1973.
Wow. So
changed my life.
Were you in high school? Were you in high school then?
High school, had dyed my hair auburn, and had a bass guitar on my back, and army fatigue jacket. When he picked me up, he said, Lord have mercy. But he was patient and kind. And sometimes, you know, when your parents or your family won't take care of you, God will send strangers to pick up the slack. And I was fortunate, Yvonne, I really was. And then I was blessed to meet such a wonderful person like you.
Oh, praise the Lord, Arthur, thank you. Well, you've been a part of my life. I guess in full disclosure here, you know, you're a family to me, so you're my cousin, and I'm just so thankful for what God has done in your life, because I know it's been difficult and challenging, but yet the Lord's allowed you to rise to every challenge, and so that's a major blessing. So you stayed with Uncle Jackie and Aunt Joe. Tell us the importance of that kind of a structure. You're saying that they ate differently, they didn't have TV. Tell us the importance in your life of structure. It's just the
dynamics of a family life. It's the dynamics of a man, absolutely, a young man witnessing and seeing him love his wife.
Oh, come on now.
I had the benefits of, well, I've been married now 38 years. I had the benefit of being under his tutelage and watching him interact with my Aunt Joe.
What were some of the things that you saw? What's different about, because I love their relationship, and anybody who knows them, Claude and Jocelyn Thomas, anybody who knows them knows that their relationship is just special. What were some of the things that you saw that you felt you should transfer into your relationship?
Well, temperament, temperament, the way that you speak, 55% of what you say with your body. 38% is tonality and 7% words. The least important form of communication is words. I watched how he interacted, and even with the stress of feeding, preparing for 8 people to eat dinner every night. I never missed a meal, never was hungry, but I knew that it was a struggle. But he loved me, never put his hands on me. But the way he spoke, and you know what, discipline and consistency. It wasn't we had worship once and then we didn't have worship one night. It was consistent. He always read, if thou turn thy foot away from the Sabbath from doing thy pleasure. I mean, I grew up with that. So it was a blessing. I was fighting it, but once I got down into that community, there were other people. It takes a village. It really does. Yeah. And I had the dynamics of being around Uncle Tim and Mervyn Warren, and those people were friends. They would come by. So, I never saw anything like that in Brooklyn. I never experienced someone actually sitting down and talking to you. And I think it's the way they treat me, because she used to get on my nerves. She put things on balloons, and she loved me. Jesus still loves you, all kind of things. I called her Donna Reed, the milk and cookies lady, all that stuff. That was really important to a person who's growing up in urban New York, a major shift in my life. And then I had the benefits of hearing some of the most powerful speakers on the planet, like Henry Wright. Heard him when I was 16, revolutionized my life.
So being in that environment really changed the course of your life, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Because
the environment plays a big role.
Getting away from that urban environment, and not just the fact that it's urban, but you needed the structure and the family life that
that's what I needed.
Uncle Jackie and Aunt Joe offered you.
Absolutely, and the patience, and listening to them pray for me, it was incredible. They wouldn't give up on me.
Yeah.
They would continue to pray for me, And to this day, we still pray. The dynamics that we have, the interaction that I have with him to this very day, you know, is so important. You know, he's my hero.
He is, they are incredible people. When I was away I was out of the church for several years, and while I was out there, Uncle Jackie and Aunt Joe they just loved me. They didn't condemn me. I was in the music business, and you know, and I wasn't wild and crazy, but you don't have to be wild and crazy to have lost your connection. And I lost my connection with the Lord, and instead of them, you know, beating me over the head with doctrine and stuff, they just loved me. They told me they're praying for me, they loved me, and that was it. I mean, I just didn't feel condemned by them, and that's so important. And so what they offered you was that steady love environment that you could thrive in. Absolutely. So was it there that you determined that I mean, after Aunt Thelma wanted you to be an elocutionist, was it in the home of Uncle Jackie and Aunt Joe that you decided you wanted to be a speaker, or where did that happen?
No, beginning of the 90s, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was on a job doing just enough not to get fired, paid enough not to quit. So, you know, I wasn't happy. And I called Uncle Jackie. I was the age of 33. And I called him. I said, man, I'm just not happy. I said, can I come and live with you? He let me come and stay with him to get myself established. That was, I had the call to be a motivational speaker. I actually went down to be a dean. The things didn't work out. We're not going to go there. But nevertheless, I became excited about motivational speaking. I heard a guy named Les Brown. And I said, man, boy, I think I can do that. When I found out what he was making an hour, I said, the Lord is able.
Tell us a bit about Les Brown.
Well, Les is a very unique gentleman. He's very gifted, unrelentless, has been through so much. But I've never met a man that could bounce back like that. I haven't heard a person speak like that. And I called him actually 31 days. I got his number. Someone was trying to turn me on to him, said I had natural born communication skills. Oh, yeah, right. They said, well, come on, listen, let's bring $20 to hear him speak. I'm not going to pay him $20 to nobody to talk. Are you kidding? And I didn't go, but I met him at a hotel, LaGuardia, to be exact. And we talked. And then I left. I got his number. But he had a number that said 800, see, I can. So I called it, 800, see, I can. And the first time I called, they said, listen, don't call here. Not that they didn't say don't call, they just said, well, you just don't pick the phone up and call Les Brown. Does he know who you are? I said, no. I said, I'm Arthur L. Andrews, but I'm hungry. Well, okay, that's nice. Day number 10, I called again, just like I never called before. The lady said, listen, sir, we're going to report you to authorities because you're stalking Mr. Brown. I'm not stalking Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown said on his tape, number 8, in the middle of the tape, that you got to be hungry. Day 28, they hung up. 29th day, they answered the phone. I said, this is Arthur L. Andrews. Don't hang up. She said, didn't I tell you? I said, well, I thought maybe they fired you because of your attitude. Day 31st. I called up and I said, listen, this is Arthur L. Andrews. I'm one of Les Brown's illegitimate children. He's behind the child support payments. He said, hello, this is Les Brown. Who is this fool? And the rest is history. I went to Atlanta Marquee and I spoke 5,000 people. He gave me an opportunity. That's why you got to be prepared for your chance. 5,000 people. And I froze for 30 seconds.
Wait, your first major speaking event
opportunity he gave me
was in front of 5,000 people.
5,000
and you froze.
Atlanta Marquee, and I froze. And,
so,
his cousin was furious. I told you didn't know him, but there was a gentleman in the audience, and he stood up and said, "Speak, little brother," and the rest is history. I just started speaking. That's why you got to really prepare yourself, because failure to do so, the chance can only make you look ridiculous. And I was so happy that I prepared. It was there, it was stored away. But then that's all I needed was that boost, and I started speaking, and Les Brown went crazy. And I began to travel with him. Yeah.
What an opportunity. Now look at that. Look at how God opened that door for you. Now, you said something that was very profound. You were talking about how you must be prepared for the opportunity. Unpack that a little bit for us, because I want our viewers to know, to understand that concept of being prepared.
Well, Abraham Lincoln said that if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend 6.5 sharpening my axe. You must be ready. Because, and he also said, he says, you know, I will study and prepare. My chance will come and then I will be ready. It's really a terrible thing to be in front of someone or to suggest that you're a professional and you don't know your craft. Sharpen your skills, hone your skills, know your craft, and speak with excellence. And one of the things that I thank God for was Oakwood College and Moran Hall, because they would boo you off that stage. You know, you couldn't operate in mediocrity at Oakwood. There were so many people that demanded excellence. And one of the greatest experiences I had in my life, I heard some of the greatest speakers that walked this planet had walked through Ashby Auditorium back in the day. I don't know if you know about Ashby Auditorium, but you may be a little too young for that.
Oh, you watch it.
Ashby Auditorium. You remember Ashby? That's where we used to have church.
Yeah, I remember Moran Hall.
Well, Moran Hall, but then we went to Ashby Auditorium. And
that was after my time.
Okay, and that was a place that I heard some of the greatest speakers, Walter Pearson. And Walter Pearson was kind to me. Some of these men were kind to me. He wasn't stuffy, he wasn't a highbrow. And he said, when you become successful, you just let the smoke glass down and talk to me. That's what he told me. And you know, of course, the rest is history, really. I'm just having a ball doing what I love doing. My vocation is my vacation.
Oh, I love it. So give us a minute or two sample of what you would say to motivate people. You're going to a corporate environment and you want to motivate people. Or inspire them? What kinds of things do you say to them?
Well, life makes one demand of every living organism, meaning that it must come to terms with the situation that it confronts. Realizing there are two ways to meet a situation. Sometimes you could change the situation, other times you must change yourself. But we know that change is both just a process of disruption and renewal. You know, you and I make some choices now. What do you want? You know, if you had a choice or you had the power to change your life, what things would you change? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? There are things that I ask them in reference to, are they committed and dedicated to their purpose? Is it something that you want to do or something someone told you to do? Because you really can't progress and be the best you can doing something that you hate.
That's good.
Are you on a job or are you in a vocation that doesn't give you any fulfillment? There's so many people. They did this survey, they found that 87% of the people don't like their jobs or what they're doing. They're miserable. And if you don't have a plan for your life, someone else does. And that's why it's important too. Let me just add this. You know, I got to a point where I got beside myself, and I really want to get to this point. And God spoke to me intuitively and said, I'm not going to share my glory with you. And that thing just knocked me for a loop.
Explain that, because we need to know a bit more about that.
Well,
what do you mean by that?
Sometimes motivation and inspiration speaking hinges on the borders of secular humanism. And God is not going to share his glory with you.
Explain that, because some people don't even know what that is. I know what it is, but
he gets all the glory.
What is secular humanism?
Well, that's where there's a dependence on you and not God.
Okay.
That you created this.
Yes.
I created this. You know, and for instance, yes, ma'am.
So was that part of your experience? Had you reached a place in your experience where you were leaning toward that and God had to rein you back? Tell us that experience.
Absolutely. You begin to think that you own the room, or it was because of your expertise and your communication skills that got you this opportunity and that you change lives. No, I don't change lives. I'm really not the motivator. The Lord is. That's the distinction.
What did it take to get you there?
I was standing at the New Orleans Superdome at Women Thou Art Loosed. And I just spoken, and T.D. Jakes and Sharita Jakes was in the audience. And I'm telling you, I thought I was it, walking in a high cotton, a proud peacock. And I was calling everybody, and as I was doing it, he said, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose your soul? I had to remember that he was the chief motivator, and he gives the assignment, not me. And when I began to understand that, doors began to open, but I was trying to open the doors. I was trying to make it happen. I wanted to blow up. I wanted to be a gospel all-star. I was at all the events and trying to get on BET and trying to do this and trying to do that. But Yvonne, you know that only what you do for, it may sound corny and cliche-ish, but only what you do for Christ will last. He has to be the focal point of why you do what you do. So now I'm not trying to impress audiences, I'm inspiring audiences.
I love it.
To be the best they possibly can be. And my mantra every day when I get in the mirror is the mark of greatness is truly upon you. And you must not be limited by the short-sighted belief of others. You can because you think you can. You can because God says you can. You're looking good, feeling good, smelling good. You are a masterpiece of creation because God does not make junk. And I kiss myself on the hand. Let's make things happen. Let's bring some joy to some people. I love that. One day I did all of that, worked on myself, talked to myself. And I walked, life happens. And I walked out the door and got on a plane and went to do a speech. I stopped by there at the airport at McDonald's, and a girl looked at me, and she looked me up and down and said, well, what do you want? I looked at her. What do I want? Well, good morning, But she was just having a bad day. And so after she served me, after she slid the orange juice at me and told me how much it was, I said, well, you could say thank you. She says, on the receipt.
Wow.
What do you do with that?
Customer service.
Yeah, but I stepped back and I said, you act a lot different when you take your medication. And she laughed. She said, sorry, you're a comedian. I said, no, I'm just seeing that you're having a bad day. I just want to make your day. She said, actually, you seem like a nice man. She said, are you really, no, are you an entertainer or something? You're funny. I said, no, I wasn't trying to be funny. But she says, sir, can I talk to you? I said, sure. She said, listen, I just found out I was pregnant and I don't know who the father is. I said, not me either, honey. But nevertheless, sometimes what people are going through is not about you. It's not about us. It's about what God can do through us to accomplish his will and purpose. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we step back and look, and if we understand people's history, we'll be more compassionate. That's a part of it.
Very true. When you were on that stage and you were there with the Woman Thou Art Loosed situation, and you were feeling like, I have finally arrived. Is that when the Spirit of God spoke to you and kind of reined you back in?
After I got to the room, when I got to the suite, and I was looking out the window, that's when it came up into me. Because God speaks intuitively. Because if he spoke out loud to freak you out, you'd probably jump out the window.
Right.
Author, I couldn't laugh. I could have at that time. But just intuitively, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world? And I said this, lose your family. My uncle used to tell me something all the time. He would ask me, he says, Arthur, is your wife secure in your love? I used to get so, he would just get real quiet. And I would go through all of my litany of things. He'd just say, I'm going to ask you the question again. Is your wife secure in your love? And I began to think about that. What does it really profit me if I really gain the whole world and lose my family in the process? What am I? I'm just a successful failure. I've got trophies, I've got all kinds of things, but I don't have my family. So, you got to go back, you got to look at the things. You got to go back and smell the roses and find out what's really important. And now I'm a pop. And it's just incredible. It's the second coming. He looks just like me. My wife said, this is not your son, whatever. But I love it. And I love what I do now because I really have a purpose. Not that I didn't have before, but I was endeavoring to be a star, a superstar, a celebrity. God is the star of the show.
Yes.
And allow him, and he promised, didn't he promise us, Yvonne, that he said, I'll supply all your needs. You take care of my kingdom, And now I'm a kingdom builder. I'm involved in my church. I am now working with the Bible worker. And we're going out and we're knocking on doors. Can you imagine that? We're knocking on doors. Yeah, we look like we look at the JWs. We're out there and we're knocking on doors. And do you know we have a Tuesday night Bible study? And it is packed. And because the only way you're going to build this church is not through music. Music is wonderful, but going out and connecting with the people. And then I had to ask myself, and I hope I'm not getting too spiritual here.
No, this is great.
But I'm just telling you, right now that the Spirit spoke to me again. And so my wife sometimes she thinks it's gas, but I said it's not gas, it's the Spirit. Stop. So the Spirit spoke to me again. Guess what he told me?
What?
In the last 3 years, how many people have grown to know the Lord and come to know Jesus Christ because of your personal ministry? Ivana hung my head.
Ah. So he was asking you, basically, what have you done to bring souls to me?
Because there'll be no starless crowns.
Right.
You're not going by yourself.
Right.
And I had to think about that. And do you know that promoted really within me?
What?
To study. To be able to explain what I believe in the Word of God. And then make it very interesting so that it would be receptive. And do you know we were out evangelizing, and well, I should say canvassing really, and some of the guys who are basically dealing drugs, set up a Bible study. So go in for the Bible, and then we went to one home, and the lady she was pregnant. She had a hole in her mattress, a big hole. We went and got a mattress and got the box spring, everything. See, people, it's easier to minister to people when you're meeting temporal needs. A man can't hear if he's hungry and his stomach is growling. It's hard to really hear your message.
That's right.
But they're more inclined to come to your church, just not giving handouts, but providing temporal needs, the things that they need. So a lot of what I did has changed in the last 2 or 3 years. And my church has been incredible in helping me restructure what I do. And I'm having more impact.
Oh, that's...
People say it's something different about you. I can't put my finger on it. You're just so nice and you're so calm. And well, I'm not trying to prove anything. I know who I am. There's an old African proverb that says, if you don't know who you are, then anyone can name you. And if anybody can name you, you may answer to just to anything. And
you know what? On that,
I belong to Jesus.
That is great. And on that, we have to end. I can't believe our time is up. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you for joining us. Join us next time, because it just wouldn't be the same without you.